20 days to go, and it's crunch time for Kamala Harris. The vice president is about to sit down with Bret Baier, her first Fox News interview since becoming the Democratic nominee. And that will air in full right after the 5 at 6 p.m. Taking tougher questions is a shift in strategy after Harris cruised through a friendly media blitz of interviews on shows like Call Her Daddy, The Howard Stern Show, and even, you might remember, sharing a beer with Stephen Colbert. Harris also joining Charlemagne the God for a radio town hall, and although he's usually friendly, he did put Harris on the spot about the border crisis.
Doesn't the Biden administration have to take some blame for the border, though? A lot of the blame? Because, I mean, the first 3 years, y'all did get a lot of things wrong with the border.
No, Charlemagne, within hours of being inaugurated, the first bill we passed before we did the Inflation Reduction Act, before we did the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, before we did the Safer Communities Act to deal with gun violence, first thing we dropped was a bill to fix the broken immigration system.
Kamala Harris also taking questions from some of Charlemagne's listeners. One caller asking whether she'll implement reparations, which is something she has supported in the past.
I am running to be a president for all Americans. That being said, I do have clear eyes about the disparities that exist and the context in which they exist, meaning history, to your point. So my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position.
All right, Judge, let's start with you because this interview is going to take place, right now during the 5, and it's going to air in an hour.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm looking forward to it, but I got to tell you, when she said, in answer to the question about the border, I mean, Charlemagne the God clearly knows that there's been a 241% increase in border crossings. Mm-hmm. But she says within hours of being inaugurated, before the first bill we passed, before Inflation Reduction, Infrastructure, Safer Communities, first thing we dropped was a bill to fix immigration. I checked H.R. 1. The first bill they dropped has nothing to do with immigration. She is just not competent or she's lying. It's one of the two. It's about fair elections. It's about ending money in politics, public officials working for the public interest. It has nothing to do with it. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we're going to study reparations. We've been studying reparations for 150 years. They just studied it in California. Gavin Newsom said, no way we're going to do it. And she tells us she's been very clear on it. And nobody knows where she stands. And I got to tell you, I give Charlemagne the God credit for the questions that he put to her. And he asked if she was sorry about some of the stuff that's happened at the border. And her answer was no. When it would have been very easy to talk about the murders, the rapes, the drugs, the fentanyl. Nothing. She's impervious to all that. But I love that her longest answer was on reparations. And we still don't know where she stands.
And that's like a 90-10 issue in terms of unpopularity. Are you paying attention to the reparations issue?
I have to remind everybody that I'm not running for office, so I don't need a commission to say I'm going to study something that everybody hates. The idea of saying, I have been really clear that we need to study in a commission on something is a politician's way of saying, if I actually endorse it, my career is over. She knows that. This is what Gavin Newsom did. It's the only play you have. Say you're going to appoint a commission, put people on it, they get free croissants and ice water at their little meetings with the little tumblers, and they get to feel really important, but you're not getting my money. You're not getting anybody's money. It's not going to happen, and I'll tell you why. The original sin of reparations is that it states that a person's problems are superior to your own based on an unquantifiable measure. So a healthy young person with endless job opportunities has a built-in edge, ancestral oppression, over a poorer, sicker person with limited resources. That is actually the definition of systemic racism, to say a young black person with great choices today should have their problems matter more than a white person, a Mexican person, an Asian person. That is racism. And if reparations is based on the stain of slavery, then every human living today possesses that ancestral strain. Slavery is not solely performed by whites. Do your history. America just happened to fight a war to end it. This is why politicians pay lip service on this crap, because they know if you explore the concept, hey, who's your ancestor? How many of them had slaves? My God, Jamaicans had slaves, didn't they? I don't know. Then you all of a sudden you start looking in your history and you go, this is impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So the only way around it to appease activists, and all the activists really want, is to be on that commission. That's all they want. That's all they're going to get.
Yep. And then they'll study it to death.
They'll study it to death, and then they'll have another study. Let's study some other things while you're at it.
Okay, good chat, everybody. Up next, former President Trump speaks directly to women voters in a Fox News town hall.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.
Built-in edge. Built-in edge. His fluency in multiple languages gives him a built-in edge in the global job market. Crunch time. Crunch time. It's crunch time for the team as they prepare for the final match of the tournament. Blitz. Blitz. The company launched a marketing blitz to promote their new product. Inaugurate. Inaugurate. The new mayor will inaugurate her term with a citywide cleanup initiative. Reparation. Reparation. The government discussed the idea of financial reparations for the victims of the disaster. Disparity. Disparity. There is a significant disparity in income between urban and rural areas. Impervious. Impervious. She seemed impervious to the criticism and continued with her project. Tumbler. Tumbler. He poured the whiskey into a tumbler and sat down by the fire. Appease. Appease. The government tried to appease the protesters by promising reforms. Pay lip service on this crap. Pay lip service on this crap. The politician always pays lip service on this crap, but never actually takes action to solve the real issues. On the plane of. On the plane of. On the plane of morality, his actions are questionable, but legally he hasn't done anything wrong.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.